Hi, good evening, and welcome to another Maschine tutorial from tdcat.com. Let's bring in the Maschine Mikro. Here it is, and we're trying something a little bit different today. So this is being recorded actually just on a webcam rather than on our usual setup, just because it's so much easier to set up. But hopefully it still looks pretty good. I've tried to get it so that you can still see clearly what's going on. Right, today we're looking at automation on the Mikro, and we're going to quickly set up some basic automation and take you through that as much as possible actually this time on the controller rather than in the software itself. And I think the first thing I want to say is just that I think I've probably mentioned it before actually. It never fails to amaze me how much functionality Native Instruments have managed to get into this controller, considering that it is only the Micro version. It's really quite incredible how much you can do with it. Right, so we're going to browse for a kit first of all. I'm going to go back to my favorite Crystal Daggers expansion pack and browse for a kit within that expansion pack. So it's actually on control at the moment. Just going to go onto main and press browse, and then you'll see here that we have the group, which is fine. That's what we want to look for. But I want to scroll to the right now and look for a specific product. And you can see I'm listing through, as the screen's changing there, it's going through all the ones that I have installed on there. So I'm going to choose Crystal Daggers, and then I'm going to press list at the top, these function keys again, and I've now got all my Crystal Daggers kits listed here, which I can scroll through quite easily. I'm going to go for the Galactic kit because I have looked at that one before and I know that I have an idea anyway what it sounds like. So I'm going to click on that to load it up, and that loads in my kit, and we'll just take a quick listen. I'm going to just change the pattern. I'm going to select the second pattern there. No, that's fine. That first one's okay. We'll go with that. Okay, so as you can see on the screen here, we've got a number of different sounds in here from that kit. And the one I'm interested in is actually this one at the bottom, the Massive Galactic 2. And there's quite a lot going on with that sound there. So that's the one I want to use to demonstrate automation. So we can solo that sound, of course, by holding down solo and pressing the button that one's on. And then solo and press F1 to turn everything back on again. And what I'm going to do, actually just something to point out, just in case you're not aware of this. If you press the view button, you'll see that you have a number of selections here. Well, you've got two selections here. You've got scene and pattern. So I can actually control the view of the pattern by pressing pattern there, and I can adjust the zoom with the wheel there, but I can also adjust the zoom with these two buttons here. So while I'm holding down view, if I press the bottom one there, it zooms out. Press that one, it zooms in. If I press right, it scrolls to the right. And if I press left, it scrolls to the left. And the reason I wanted to point that out is because there's also one other function in there. If I press view and the middle button at the top here, that actually opens and closes. You'll see at the bottom of the screen here, it opens and closes the automation window, the automation lane, essentially that is. So let's leave it open. And the only thing you probably want to do is maybe expand it up a bit like this, but you will have to do that on the screen. So I'm going to go to sound 16, just purely by pressing it. Fine, easy. And what I want to do now, I'm going to turn off browse there. And I'm going to press on control. And then what I can do, you'll see that this massive sound here, because massive has got quite a lot of controls with it, you've got a load of stuff across the top here, all different sort of oscillators and filters and FX and EQs, all types of things. And you can you can navigate to any of those using the controller, using the nav button and these here. So if I hold down the nav button, you'll see that if we press right now, we scroll through that top level, which takes us through all the different sort of things that Massive has on it. And all these are, you can put automation on all of these individually. Now, of course, you can only do one at once with the Micro. It's not like the Studio that has like a big row of MIDI assignable buttons so you can control all different things at once. Yes, that would be nice and it would make life a little bit easier, but this is the Micro, okay? There are sacrifices we have here. So I'm going to move over to this one. And I now want to select phase. So if I let go of navigation and just press right, now I'm scrolling within this particular section of control. So I can choose phase there, and you'll see on the display there that it has phase set to 0, which is exactly right. So if I press the button, and as I scroll up, great. Okay, so that's the thing I want to automate. Now on the screen here, you can use any of these controls here. So you can paint on sort of automation, you can draw, rub it out, or you can just draw it fairly roughly, and you can do it in the 16th here controls how sort of refined, I can't think of the word, your automation is. So if you set this to kind of 1/128th, then you have 128 sort of sections of automation. It's a very sort of smooth curve then of automation. 1/16th will obviously have a lot more steps to it. I suppose it's a little bit like bits really. But we'll leave it on 1/16th for now because I don't think this applies when you do it on the controller. So we want to automate that sound. How are we going to do it on the controller? Well, we can play the track. And that sounds good. I mean, it gives us an idea of what we want to, how we want it to sound. But all we need to do on the Micro to actually record that automation is hold down Shift while we're turning this button here. So if we restart that and hold down Shift and turn the button, you'll notice that as I've done that, we've had a nice automation lane drawn for that sound. And you can see here that this particular control has automation on it because it has this extra orange sort of indicator here. And as that plays, that's the bit that turns. We can move over to any other, and as we do so, we can simply, I mean, I don't know which ones actually will make a difference here, but let's just, okay, that's not going to make too much difference, that one, but scroll over to another one. Well, pitch. No, that's not going to sound great if I automate that, but you can move over to another one and do the same thing again and add multiple modulations down here to different effects. Yeah, and if we go back to the massive here, we can the massive sound, which is actually sort of the bass line. We can see the automation, and we can use the screen here to delete it. We can just sort of rub it out like this, but we can also do that on the controller as well. So we can take off the whole thing by doing a Shift 10, and that clears our automation lane. And if we want to just quickly go back to it and do it again, it really is as easy as that. So you can navigate through these very, very simply. Go to a different sound. So we're now on that sound, and we've still got a massive sound here, so we can navigate through the different parts and change the macros or the effects. And And then we're now on this effect, going left or right without navigation held, and scroll that up and down. And then as soon as we start, then we've started doing an automation lane for this massive sound and using the dry wet control of this effects. So that's all there is to it, really. I mean, you can probably navigate around the controller very, very simply doing that and put automation in on all different areas. I mean, you know, when you get into certain plugins like Massive, there are so many things you can potentially automate that there is no doubt that having a micro is a little bit limiting then. But it means that you can do everything from the controller, and you can sort of navigate your way around the software without having to reach back over to the mouse like this and start playing around with the mouse. And you can do your scrolls and your views and turning this on and off, your automation lane and the left panel there, the right panel. You know, you can do all sorts of stuff without touching the screen. So the more you can get used to that, the more it just sort of flows and you whiz around and add all your automation. So hopefully that helps. That's it from TD Cat for this evening, and we will catch you soon with another Maschine tutorial. Let us know what you think, and if you like what we do, please subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.